Hi, I'm Nancy Feld. I used to teach at Southern Door School for 28 years, and now I just come here on Saturdays from noon until 3 to Schoolhouse sit. I just am here in case anybody wants to come in and see what it's like. I helped restore this schoolhouse. It was built in 1882 and used as a Southern Door school until 1960. My husband and I both worked on restoring the building after it was given to us meaning the Archives Association at Southern Door, by the Randy and Bobby Joe Weckler family. And bless their hearts, they kept a wonderful roof on this building all the while they owned it, which meant that the inside was in way better shape than other buildings that might have been built back in 1882. One of the surprises that we got when we started restoring the inside, it had a dropped ceiling and it had some fiberboard walls. And we had initially planned to put plaster walls, but when we took off that fiberboard, this is what was underneath it. That is the original paint from 1882. We took all the boards out. I personally didn't, but the bunch of volunteers took all the boards out, put in good insulation and new wiring, and then put the boards back. And except for cleaning it, we really didn't do anything to these walls or the ceiling. This wall we did paint because it was not an original wall. The coat room was added sometime later, and I really don't remember when that was, but I know when I show the boys and girls who come to visit here the nails that we found in this part of the building, they're all square nails, and they love holding something that is that old. But in that section, all of the nails were round. So depending on the age of the students, I sometimes try and get them to try and figure out why that would be. Why would there be square nails in here and round nails in there? And they can figure it out, and I often have them figure out how old the school is using a little subtraction, and then we always talk about why there would be little desks and big desks. And of course, it's hard for students from Southern Door School, for example, a third grader, to figure out why would you have big kids and little kids in the same room. And that's when we talk about how they got to school and how, let me just show you the map of here's the map of Southern Door, and all of these yellow dots are where there are little 1- and 2-room schoolhouses. And so then we talked about why would there be so many schools, and then they're figuring out, oh, it's near where families lived, and yeah, they couldn't go too far because they would have to either ride a horse or walk, or anyway. There are lots and lots of learning opportunities to compare education the way it was in 1882 and how it is now. So It did take us 4 years to restore, and this is actually, we moved it here from the area near Salem Lutheran Church where it was originally located, and brought it to this spot here. And yeah, it was a lot of hard work, but it was also a labor of love. You know, actually, I can't say enough about Judy Jesse. She was the art teacher at Southern Door forever and ever. And actually, when she first started her career as an art teacher, she worked in these little one-room schoolhouses. And so she would travel from one school to the other. She was the traveling art teacher. So she got to actually work in many of the old schools, some of which have been sold and are now private residences, and some have been torn down. And luckily, this one was given to us, and we restored it, and now it's like a living museum. So, and are we going to restore any other buildings? I would say no. Many of our volunteers were my age and older, and it's really a lot of hard work. Judy Jesse did a marvelous job of learning and figuring out how to do all that needed to be done in like stage 1. This is what we had to do. We had to move it here. And then stage 2, we had to get the foundation. And then, you know, we could work on the inside. We knew we needed a new roof on it. And really, we took off part of the roof in order to transport it, because that's one of the most expensive parts of moving something is getting the wires moved so that you can get under them. So we just took off the top, and then initially we had it just covered, and then we went ahead and put a new roof back on, and got all these wonderful cedar shake shingles up there like they would have had back in those days. One of the changes that we made was at the back. We knew we wanted the building to be handicap accessible. Originally, the wood stove was where the back door is. And when we went up into the ceiling, we could see that there had been a fire at one point up there. So this stove now is not functional at all, but we do have a nice back door, and we have a handicap ramp. And wouldn't you know that the very first class that came to visit the school had a student who was wheelchair bound. And it was so wonderful that that student could come in just like everybody else. So we've had lots of classes that come out here. Judy spent lots of time let's see, those are all photos. She has suggestions for lessons that teachers can use if they want. We do have some things on the board, but those are just samples of what it might have been like. Actually, this came from one of the schools. It came from Roosevelt School. And of course, anyone who knows anything about teaching, I'm guessing, well, I taught for 28 years, but I cannot imagine teaching in a one-room school with first graders and eighth graders. Actually, that's one of the things when we're talking about the sizes of the desks. We also talk about why there are holes in some of them. And when I ask the students, what do they think these holes are for, the most common answer is water bottles. And of course, no. So that's when I show them an ink bottle and an old-fashioned ink pen, and then I get them to figure out why aren't there any holes in the little desks. Oh, well, they're too young. So anyway, they totally enjoy looking around and seeing how different things were.